All right, here we go. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to a brand new episode of the Jesse Hughes Show. As always, ceremonial chairwine pop here. So, if you've been keeping up with the news recently, you know that there is a lot of craziness going up in the northern part of our country, going on in Minneapolis and Minnesota. We've seen churches get raided and protesters harass congregants. We've seen unfortunate situations where people have put themselves in dangerous situations with law enforcement and in some cases have ended up losing their lives because of it. And we've also seen the Trump administration show they're not going to back down easily. They're not going to back down without a fight. But in the course of this chaos, we have had numerous independent journalists who have been on the ground and have been covering this relentlessly. And one of those individuals joins us tonight. We have on the show for the very first time, friend of the program, if this will work, the independent journalist. You might know him as the brother of Jack Posobiec, and also, based on what I heard on an X space the other night, hot dog fiend when it comes to going and getting protester hot dogs, Mr. Kevin Posobiec. Kev, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing very well, Jesse. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate all the work you got going. Yes, indeed. I'm a field correspondent for Human Events. I'm the more handsome Poso, and I'm not a hot dog fiend of the Maz encampments up there in Minneapolis. But what was funny, it was actually happened. We have footage of it. Was I think it was Nick Shorter and I were in there infiltrating, and we did get hot dogs, but I actually ended up slipping on the ice, and like they would like flew up in the air and everything as we were leaving. But yeah, wild times up there so far.
Yeah, sounds like it. That is just taking us back a little bit, looking at the timeline here.
Hmm.
We had Nick Shirley back in December dropped his video exposing a lot of the Somali fraud, which prompted the Trump administration to increase the ICE presence in Minneapolis and start. Oh, I might be having some connection issues here. Hopefully, y'all can still hear me. But we had the ICE presence increase, starting some rounds of deportations up there, which then led to you and your brother heading up to Minnesota. So, when did y'all first get up there, and what was kind of the inspiration behind y'all going up there? I know Jack eventually left. I saw him at the March for Life, but you stayed up there
Yeah,
for a while. I think you're still up there, maybe.
yeah, Jesse. I've been here since like the better part of January. It's been basically all month. What prompted it was the Renee Good shooting. She and her beloved wife, girlfriend, I don't even know what, decided to egg her on into blocking ICE operations with her vehicle right there at 34th in Portland, which is now a vigil because she decided to not only not leave and not cooperate, but once she was confronted, she tried to run over an ICE agent, and Mr. Jonathan Ross responded, and now she's no longer with us. So that's what prompted us being there, and after that, we decided to stay because Jack and I have been doing extensive work with Antifa and these protesters and the larger criminal leftist web behind it, these globalists. And what we've uncovered is just the same, really. We've uncovered all sorts of not just fraud in the sense that what Nick Shirley is finding, but also the fraud just being given through guys like me and you now. So with these hot dogs, right? It's like these people come onto the scene and and it's like they get funded through Venmo, PayPal, whatever, Zelle. whatever it is now, to go do this. And that's one angle to it, and the other angle is the organization as well behind it, like telling these people to donate here, donate there, and then also meet up here, meet up there. And then that brings us forward to more currently, like the Signal Gate, which Cam Higby and I were involved in, with these people that were exposing license plates and building this like database. But they're really not. They're professional, but they just suck at their jobs. I mean, they thought we were confirmed ICE for a while there, chasing us around just because we were in Black Bloc. But hey, like we were in Black Bloc. How did that? Like that's a question, Jesse. How if we were in Black Bloc pretending to look like Antifa, how come they thought we were ICE? So either way, yeah.
That's a great question. My apologies.
And
My
Jesse,
apologies if I disappeared there for
yeah, no doubt. But yeah, Jesse, just to follow up with Jack, like for the audience that doesn't know, like me and Jack have been around since 2016, and Jack even before. So we were actually at the Chaz before this in Seattle in 2020, Autonomous Zone. So we did a lot of the coverage there. It was a very similar atmosphere. Um, People just deciding they could take over the street and whatnot. So yeah, we've been at this for a while. Jack's written books about it. He wrote on Humans about it, and I've helped undercover and behind the scenes for a long time. So yeah, that's what brought us out there initially. But stay. We were only supposed to stay like a weekend, and it turned into basically the whole month.
yeah, no, crazy times. Again, my apologies if I did that there again. When you're running in a podcast out of your apartment bedroom, sometimes these things happen, but it is what it is. But no, definitely a lot of crazy developments have happened, and you guys are professionals. Y'all, like you mentioned, y'all been at this for a while. I remember seeing. I downloaded Twitter at the end of high school, right before I got into college in 2020, and remembered one of the first things I saw were Jack's videos of Chaz and the things that he was uncovering up there. But here in Minnesota, one thing that has been different is it seems like there has been, while it's been crazy, it's been a little bit more subdued, maybe possibly because of the weather. If things like this would have happened over the summer, God only knows what would have happened because Minnesota seems to be a hotbed of some of this craziness. But I do want to talk about that signal chat for a minute that you mentioned Cam Higby uncovered. So, for those who may not be in the loop, Cam Higby, another independent journalist, show created this signal group chat where, like Kev mentioned, you have people organizing to go out and harass ICE officers. You have people organizing and making databases of license plates. Just curious from your perspective and from what you know, how how did Cam one get in infiltrate into these chats, and what kind of stuff was that able to help y'all kind of figure out? Okay, this is where we need to go to kind of see what these people are up to. Walk me through that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Looks like you got a little skip in the connection, Jesse. But I'll try and respond here. See what it does. Yeah. But yeah. Number one, I can't. I mean, that's classified information as far as how Cam got in there. I know, but it's something maybe I'll tell you in person. But yeah, once we had a well, we were just talking, we were planning, we had all kinds of plans of what to do, and how to flank the left here, how to flank Antifa and gather intel against them as they were getting intel against us. Um, and as you know, I've been put on posters with Cam and Haley West now too, and Lance, and I'm goodness, I've been on lists for years now, really, but but it's accelerated again and escalated again in Minneapolis in particular. So they've been on to us, but yeah, especially so after Signalgate. What we were finding is that they just document, they stand on corners, Jesse. They stand on corners of their neighborhoods and just look for suspicious looking cars. And in the past, we've seen a lot about what is that? Police racial profiling. Remember racial profiling? How that was a big deal, I think, under Obama. And people were taking cops to court for being racially profiled. Just walked up to on the street. That's basically what was happening to us. And you know, they call us Nazis. They call us Gestapo. And really, it's like, you know, they take pictures of us, report the vehicle, and really, we've had cases where Somalians will just drive up behind us and start honking their horns and blowing whistles and just follow us. They stalk us for like miles on end. You go right, they go right. We go left, they go left. So it's kind of insane how this has played out because you just never know who's going to follow you. It's actually very dangerous, and the danger continued because we wouldn't know, like I said, exactly who was following us, and that's how they operate. It's like on the face of it, you might get into a signal chat, and then it'll be like, oh, it's just Susie Q or like Joe Bob, you know, following these reports. Say, hey, ICE is in Bloomington or Powderhorn Park or North Minneapolis or downtown. You know, they'll say that, but who's actually following you, we don't know. A lot of the times, you know, it was just like white liberal lesbian girl in a Subaru, you know, following us, beeping her horn, and so yeah, we were kind of emboldened at the very end there, where we actually got out, and you could see that through Haley West's video that went viral. We just all hopped out of the truck at one point and confronted these people, saying like, "Yo, we're not ICE. Like, stop stalking us, please. Stop harassing us." And you know, I stayed in the truck in these situations just because my plan was to be undercover the entire time as much as I could. But you know, if you know, hit the fan, I would jump out, you know, and provide backup to my friends. But yeah, these people are trying to get more and more coordinated through Signalgate, through the Indivisibles company at large, who is providing funds and locations for these protests. They're the same as No Kings, and you know, Antifa undoubtedly operates inside of them as well.
Absolutely. I know that there's an indivisible group here where I'm at. It'd be very interesting to see what kind of things they
Yeah.
have
So
going on in
yes.
their.
So some of the things. I mean, and I commend Cam for getting in there because it's like he got into something that was only maybe 100 people or whatever, but like me or you could join the Indivisibles website and get in their chat, but that has like millions of people in it. But what they do, Jesse, is, and you're from Liberty, right?
Yes.
So they will post like, hey, come. They might even do it like, there's an ice out everywhere this weekend. I think it's Friday or Saturday. So like you could just go in and look, type in Liberty University, Virginia, and it'll like do a digital map and say, here's what's going on there. So what they do though is they say, oh, we're going to gather here at this parking lot or this park to honor Renee Good or Alex Preddy, and you know, we encourage silent protest or have a prayerful reflection or like do these like woo woo demonstrations, but really it's where everybody meets and they plan and they meet with Antifa and do whatever the heck they want. Because a lot of it is happening also in sanctuary cities. I think Liberty University is a pretty conservative area in general, but you know, you take Minneapolis or Philadelphia, and having all these like crazy liberals wound up meeting together, these sanctuary city policies allow them to commit crimes, um, scot free. And that's what we saw as me and the RAV team with Dave Zier got assaulted and stalked during one of the protests 2 weeks ago. So yeah, we were walking along. How did it go down? Actually, let me. Yeah, so we were reporting elsewhere undercover, and someone had asked me to go join the RAV live stream. Okay, and so we were joined, and while we were joining them, the truck from the protest earlier from Indivisibles, the silver like Silverado or whatever, which had Ilhan Omar on the back, like waving like she's the queen of Minneapolis. And I think she gave a couple speeches. So she's like parading down Lake Street or wherever near Powderhorn Park. You can look it up on the map. And she's surrounded by a group of individuals providing security for her. And yeah, she's eventually left. But by the time we get on the live stream there, the same truck, this is the key part, the same truck comes down the street, and we're like on the corner live streaming. So the truck that she was on with the same security around it, like kind of stopped at the corner to where the park comes in, and we're on the corner too, and the truck behind it as well. So we were like taking pictures of it, like what's this and that. So the security dude comes up to me and Dave while we're live streaming and starts like getting in our faces, like asking like who we are, like what's this about? And we say, oh, we're just independent journalists, So he starts standing there, listening to what we're saying, and then all of a sudden he just starts shouting, all right, protest is over, get out of the park. But he's shouting it, and nobody's leaving, but he's shouting it so loud that it's interrupting the interview for the live stream, which is happening directly next to him. So he's clearly um, encroaching on what we're trying to do here. And after that, they figured out who we were. And I said, hey, man, like we're not being loud, so we're not going to leave. So he just starts, trying to walk us off, blowing his whistle. He's blowing his whistle back and forth. And so he rallies up a mob of protesters around us. Yeah, he rallies up a mob of protesters around us, Jesse. And they start walking us off down the street, like during our live stream. And yeah, I think we're back. But yeah, what had happened was that my theory is that Ilhan Omar's security for her protest while she was on that truck riding around, like waving like the queen, was the same ones that assaulted me and my crew during our live stream from Real America's Voice. So they're walking us off, and I can send you footage too, but they're walking us off. We're telling them we're going to leave, but they still, like, it was like 30 of them trying to surround us, walk us down the street. I called 911 at one point, and the police, Minneapolis police, didn't really do anything. They were like, here's a number for a police report if you want to call it in. Call us if it gets worse, hang up. And we finally get to the van. It's like me, Dave, the camera guy, and two security guards. So that's why I would have ran if it was just me, or maybe stood my ground. But we had two armed guards with us. So I was like, all right, let's walk and see what happens. So we finally get to the van. We get in the van to leave. And they pulled like almost a similar thing that Renee Good did. Like they kind of like block our exit so we can't leave, and then start like bombing the van with like ice chunks, like trying to bust the windows out. But finally, like, yeah, it was getting pretty tense, and they're all shouting. But finally, we were able to just drive off, and then bob and weave a little bit, and we finally lost them. But that was like a 2 hour ordeal. So they're not messing around.
Yeah, absolutely not. And you know, I commend you heavily for going out and doing this stuff. But if you are someone in your local neighborhood and you know things like this are going on, be smart and be safe because these people, like you've heard tonight, are well organized and they are dangerous and they are willing to do. I mean, we saw with you mentioned Renee Good, like we saw with Alex Pretty. They're willing to do whatever they can do to not only disrupt ICE but also harass random civilians just because they think they might be ICE potentially, like they did with y'all. So if you hear of something going out on in your neighborhood, be careful, be vigilant, and don't mess around. Make sure if
Yeah.
you're going to do something, I don't know if I recommend you would, but if you are, be safe.
Oh, absolutely. And what we're seeing a slight turn of the tables here, um, especially with Tom Homan coming too. But another theory we had is that these people are paid agitators, right? So they might not even be from Minneapolis. They're out there on, confronting us, asking for our papers, and if we live here, you know, maybe they're not from here either. Maybe they're some of these neighborhood watchers, like local people. Maybe they're not local. And so we hope that's not the case. But you just don't know anymore, do you?
No, you don't. I wanted to turn.
Dang, that sucks. It looks like possibly lost Jesse a bit there as well. Um, Let me talk to you guys more about this. These agitators. I mean, we had just today, Andrew Mercado got leaked. He got leaked or doxxed. I'm sorry, he's got doxxed by the guy named Jaden Scott. I don't support any kind of doxing, but at the same time, like this guy is live streaming himself, chasing Bavino's supposed border patrol convoy all around Minneapolis because he thinks, he's hot shit and it's my city. Like, I think it really is where he lives, but so I kind of get that, but it's like, listen, homie, like you're obstructing federal agents from conducting Title 8 operations for Border Patrol for illegal immigrants. And a lot of these people are actually criminals. They're like sexual offenders. Um, what else? Murderers. We're trying to actually keep people like Andrew Mercado safe. Uh, if you can follow that line, but he just doesn't want to have it. He doesn't want to have that. And on top of that, the cherry on top is like this guy Mercado was actively doxing FBI agents uh, after the second shooting the night of. And I don't know how I missed him. I was on the ground for all that too. I was like right on that street. We were right on that block right after the guy attacked an agent with a shovel and got shot in the leg. I think he was Venezuelan. But yeah, we were there to document the vehicles being destroyed. But he goes and grabs like a file of papers and he's just like turns the camera down and starts he starts filming as they go through like every paper of FBI agents. And I don't know if that's somebody tell me in the comments, but it seemed like I didn't bother to care if I knew if like an FBI agent was doxxed, but I think it was sensitive information. Um, and they didn't really even know what they were looking at either. But he was making sure that he had good lighting and that his camera was clear as he was flipping through every single page of these, you know, documents that they looted out of the vehicle there. And other than that, I mean, we saw the one guy steal a rifle out of stole a rifle out of, what was it, a Ford Expedition. The agents' trucks have these metal trunks in the back that are rifle trunks. You know, they're locked up in the back, and I can give you guys a little exclusive, a little exclusive info on all that. But what had happened there was, yeah, he so he stole the rifle, and we didn't get it documented, but he like walks down the street basically, and I was walking off the scene anyway, and for whatever reason, boom, I was like on the same sidewalk as this guy, and he was surrounded. I didn't know he was Latin King. I had no idea who this guy was, but he was a little shorter than me, like looked kind of goofy, honestly, and so I was tempted to go talk to him more, but I didn't. I just literally happened to be walking down the street with him, and I hadn't like really understood what had happened or what he even had. I thought it was a rifle, but I thought maybe it was empty. And so so he's got like 3 or 4 Antifa around him, and or I don't know, maybe there are other just Latin Kings, really. So I'm just walking like, oh man, like what's that? And they didn't say nothing to me, but you know, they didn't confront me either. So anyway, like I just like kind of keep walking, but watching them. The dude, the face tattoo guy that took the rifle, he like drops it off in between 2 cars in a random driveway as they figure out what to do next. And so I'm like, which, you know, now what do I do? So I'm like walking down this side street. Nobody else is on the street but me. And I get to the next corner and I look over and there's a police line coming up. I'm like, okay, you know what? Like, I'm going to break this cover here. So I walk like directly up to the officers and I'm like, hey, like, I think the guy down the street, like, may have a weapon on him, like stolen, maybe have a stolen weapon on him. And they go, okay, thank you. And oh, there you are, Jesse.
Yeah, let's see if this works a little bit better. I'm trying something a little bit different.
Okay.
Again, I apologize.
It seems like you're clear now.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So I was just going through, and we'll see on the playback. I mean, this is recorded. And I was just continuing a little exclusive story here that I haven't shared anywhere else.
Okay.
About the well, maybe I'll restart it now that you're here. But after the second shooting in North Minneapolis, where the Venezuelan guy attacked an agent with a shovel, and he got shot in the leg. Well, the first bit when you were coming back here, I was talking about Mercado and how he got doxxed today and all that. But and the files getting recorded on his live stream. You know, he was out there like trying to dox at federal agents and also like trail Bovino's team. So anyway, we're in North Minneapolis the night the Latin Kings guy stole a rifle out of the trunk, right?
Mm-hmm.
The one. So yeah. Anyway, I didn't get it documented, but I was actually on the street, like the street down. Like I was walking away because it started to get hotter and hotter, and like they were destroying vehicles, and the cops were leaving too. So like, you know, that's when the bad crime happened. So I was just trying to get cover, and I happened to be down the same street as the guy with the rifle. And he's got this like big, he's like, oh man, this thing's so heavy, like I don't know like what I got. Like you know, obviously not the smartest individual in the world, but
Right.
he was being surrounded by like, he had like 2 or 3 other Antifa buddies, or they might have been Latin Kings too, and they were like, oh yeah, like, oh wow, like, So he dips down and like drops the rifle off in between these two parked cars. And keep in mind, this is like midnight, so it's dark out, and so they like stashed the rifle there for a second, and I'm like, all right, well, I don't want to look too weird here, so I just kind of kept walking down to the next block, and then thankfully, like a police line was marching up the block, and this is the only time I like really broke my cover, but I walked directly towards the police, and I was like, hey guys, like I think like I'm like pointing down the street, I'm like. I think that guy like has a rifle or something. He's got a big heavy bag that he stole, and they're like, okay, like thank you for telling us. I just masked back up. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I masked back up and then go back, and I look back and I see the dude like get the bag and get into the car, and like the police. I don't know if they saw it or not, but I don't know what happened. But I saw the dude like basically jump into a car, and they didn't peel out because they were headed towards us and the police. Um, and they just kind of like rolled by real smooth and got away. Got away for the night, I'll say. But yeah, that dude definitely got raided by the ATF, and he got his mugshot posted nationwide. Um, maybe they'll tell us in the comments, but I don't know like where that rifle got to, or maybe the bag was like empty to begin with, or maybe it had something different in it, like camera equipment or something, or computers. But I'd like to follow up on that just for my own edification, like what happened. uh I would like to know that we retrieved it, especially if it was an AR-15. I'd like to know that we retrieved that.
Yeah,
um
absolutely.
but at least we got the Latin Kings guy. So
Well,
yeah.
that's crazy. Sounds like you have had quite an experience up there. Before the last interruption, I did say I wanted to shift a little bit to kind of talk about the broader kind of not national, but kind of the broader situation going on in Minneapolis. So we've seen a lot on the right, on the online right, some black pilling people saying that Trump is caving, that we're backing down. You mentioned though that Tom Homan's coming up. We saw some libs like this Kyle from the Secular Talk, uh, having full caps lock freakouts saying ICE is upping deportations. It was all a scam. It was all a lie. It was all a bait and switch. So such and such. From your experience up there and what you've seen, have you seen what any evidence of ICE potentially backing down in the face of some of this pressure, or is are they keeping their promises? They're keeping their oath. Is Trump keeping his word? And are things continuing up there, despite what you might hear from some of the clamorers on the online right?
Trump's absolutely not backing down. Um, it was simply a transitionary period. We know that Commander at Large Bovino is in Los Angeles right now, and that's what I thought when I first read the news. Like it said he was relieved of his duty, so it got cut. It got taken out of context, and I thought it was like, there's no way, like this guy's like got insane aura, like he's off the charts. He's like the most electric guy. And Jesse, I saw him like multiple times, like in the field, like on the ground, and he knows me. He knows me now and the crew. So it was like, dude, really, like he was like, Charlie Kirk level, like, when you meet like somebody, even if they're not a celebrity, they just have that electricity to them. This guy is the commander at large of the Border Patrol. So I was like, there's no way, like, this guy, like, all of a sudden. So, so yeah, it was just, I thought it was just like a timed operation. I was like, all right, have Bavino here for a month and then
Right.
relieve him of his duties for Minneapolis. So I think that actually is what happened. Um, so I mean, don't black pill. I get it. Like I feel for everybody that thinks that, because it's like, hey, we have the power right now. We have the mandate, right?
Mhm.
80 million people voted for mass deportations. And that hits me in the heart too, because I mean, real quickly, but like I was in a car accident when I was a kid with my dad, and we were T-boned by illegal immigrants back
Oh
in the
wow.
day. And I thought my dad had broken his back, and this was like right when like cell phones were even coming out. So I had to like run to get help, and I don't want to ever experience that again, where I have to like leave my dad, not knowing what's going to happen, and that's because of illegal immigrants. So they didn't have insurance. So even if my dad was paralyzed for the rest of his life from that accident, oh well, they can't pay anything.
Right.
But so that's why my heart's in it, and I want to see it as well. They were saying black pillars are saying, "Oh, Trump doesn't want to do this or that because of his poll numbers."
Well, if you look at the poll numbers, these are still popular. He's still, I mean, the latest polls that came out this past weekend, there had been
Yeah,
no drop off in support. There had been no anybody kind of like backing away from this. The only thing you see is some circumstantial evidence online where some people of certain persuasions that I cannot name on this show, but they are the opposite sex of us, are freaking out about this stuff because of one reason or another, saying it's mean, it's this, it's that. They're still
yeah,
popular. People are still supporting this. So there's no reason to back down now, especially when you have the momentum. But unfortunately, of
yeah.
course, we support a party where a lot of people in leadership, the moment that we have victory, they want to grasp it away and push us into defeat. It's okay. We will make you learn how to win again.
That's right. That's right. No, man, I'm loving the arrests, and yeah, we have to lay the hammer down while we have it. They want to take us out in the midterms next, and we can't allow that to happen. I love seeing like what we did to Maduro when we got him,
Mhm.
and we perped walk him like that. We need to see more of that. You know, I'm tired of these people that are like, oh, it's we got to deport 30 million or 300 million illegals, or I'm just not going to vote. Like, okay, like retard, like. But even if we get like maybe once a week, like a once a week like highlight like perp walk
Mhm.
of people, just like real up close, dude. I'm talking like shackles on the hands and feet, like totally humiliated, just to send a
Must see
message.
TV. That would be
Yeah,
must see TV. I
and
would have
and and,
loved to have
and
seen Don Lemon perp walked for the whole church.
yes, yes, man. Yeah, and William Kelly, the other guy
Mhm.
that infiltrated the church, absolutely, absolutely. And I want to add on to that too, Jesse. Just today, so with the Indivisibles thing, what they're trying to do currently is call senators to encourage them. And I have it on my Twitter. It's one of my posts today for a call to action to get them to stop funding for DHS. And that is being voted on in the Senate this week. So I won't be surprised if that comes out tomorrow or Friday. Um, so that's why you see Governor Waltz and Maker Jacob Fry getting so cocky, is because they want to rally the left. Um, it's like I think $64 billion funding thing here.
Wow.
Um, so they want to see that uh, stopped, really. And if we lose funding, then our operations have to slow down, and
Well,
that's
I'll
why
give.
that's why it's critical. Like we need, because the House majority right now and we
Right.
have passed bills to continue funding even from last year. I think we have DHS and DHS, Border Patrol, and ICE are like 170 billion. Okay, from last year, but now this year the continuing resolution has 64 billion thanks to the House. So they're still on board, but the Senate is bickering back and forth, and they're trying to push a vote this week. Because I think the current one is done on January 30th, so they have to. So if
Yeah.
not, we're going to face loss of funding, and then maybe even like a partial shutdown because of this. Um, so yeah, that's my message today as well. Especially because if not everybody can be on the ground like me and the others, but you can take action, call your own senators, let them know what's going on. Go to this website, Indivisibles. They're trying to do the same exact thing, so we got to combat that right back. Be like, do not back down.
Absolutely, 100%. I was about to say, I'm going to give my own call to action right now. If you're watching this live or if you're listening back to this later tomorrow, make a note, contact your senator before this vote. Let them know that you want DHS funding to continue. Let them know that you support what's going on. You support the ICE raids. You support the mass deportation of these people out of our country. Do not let the left get the momentum on this. And I know there's, like you mentioned, there's a lot of blackpilling about the midterms. If I don't see so many deportations by the midterms, I'm not going to vote. Listen, I understand the feeling. I understand feeling betrayed by your party. I understand feeling like they're not getting anything done. But if we let even the Republicans that we hate the most, there's primaries going on, get involved in those. That's why these Republicans always get in the office. But if a Republican you don't like survives the general election, vote anyway. Because if you don't, and we lose the House and we lose the Senate, you're going to see Trump impeached. You're going to see Vance impeached. You're going to see Nome impeached. You're going to see these DHS operations shut down completely. It's going to be complete chaos in the federal government. We cannot allow that to happen. If you want to add anything to that, I have another question after that. But if you want to add anything to that,
no. I just texted you that link that I posted up. But yeah,
all
what's
right.
up?
Oh yeah. So just a couple more questions here. There's been a lot of talk about whether or not Trump should invoke the Insurrection Act when it comes to what's going on in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Do you think that we're near a point or have gotten to a point, or maybe there was a point and we've kind of passed it where that should have happened? Or do you think that there's another level of escalation that maybe we should hold on, take a back seat, and if such and such event happens, then that would be the time to use it?
Yeah. I think you should, honestly. Multiple presidents have invoked it in the past. I think JFK did it 3 times. But that was, slightly different. That was regarding civil rights and all. But yeah, I mean, so it invokes the Insurrection Act, His poll numbers will go up, in my theory, but also liberal chaos will go up. So that's something to be factored in as well. I think it absolutely will escalate either way, Jesse, because it's midterms. Like in 2020, right. 2020 was an election year, and then George Floyd died, and I'm sorry, George Floyd had a heart attack and a drug overdose at the same time.
Yes.
But so we had that in 2020 election year, and that's what I'm saying. They all they need is like a little bit of reason to just keep rioting and keep going crazy. I mean, we already had 2 people die in Minneapolis in the past month. George Floyd was just one guy, and they just took that and ran with it. So, there's definitely something else going to happen again. What I've been afraid of this whole time is like literally Mother Nature's ice. Like, Alex Preddy, of course, like if you draw a gun on an officer, you're going to get rocked. And he did. But like, even if it was like, just some random woman like grabbing an ice agent or whatever, and she slips and falls on the ice and cracks her head, or somebody else, something else like that happens, they're just on edge that much. They're just waiting for another reason. And we've seen a sustained attack, Jesse, and that's what's different from like Portland or LA, where it's like boom, like a big fire, like over the weekend riot, and then it goes right away. Like Minneapolis has been like sustained, like attack the hotels, protest around the hotels. ICE is here, ICE is there. Let's follow ICE around in our cars. Let's harass people here and there. Like, let's build a Maz. You know, we've seen sustained energy out of Minneapolis, and that's what JD Vance himself said. Is like Minneapolis is a unique situation, and it's also a sanctuary city. So,
And it's so interesting that so many of
that
these
emboldens
things,
everybody.
yeah, it's so interesting that so many of these things happen there. I mean, you had the Summer of Love, the Summer of Floyd, and now you have
Yeah.
this going on, and it's this sustained thing. So it does make you wonder how much of a put together, organized effort there is there specifically, as opposed to some of these other places across the nation. But one
Yeah.
thing I'm worried about, you mentioned Mother Nature's ice and something kicking off from that. The biggest thing I've been worried about, and the thing that has been my theory as why Trump hasn't invoked the Insurrection Act yet, is that God forbid an ICE agent is going to end up getting killed. I hope that doesn't happen. I pray that doesn't happen. But
Well,
if
they
that
tried.
does, well, they tried. But if that does happen, I think that's probably going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back.
Yeah, I think so too. And Hegseth himself was they're already on top of it. I mean, the National Guard is there, but through Governor Walsh. So we
They're
saw
handing out
National Guard.
donuts.
Exactly. Yeah, they're handing out donuts. Don't get me started, man. But if you look on the map near the Federal Whipple building, where a lot of the constant action and volleys back and forth are, I mean, there's probably still people there right now, but next to it is Fort Snelling. It's a historic site from like frontier days, and it's a large open area. I guess it's a state park right now, or yeah. So, I think Hegseth was there. He's already probably making blueprints of what it would look like to have a military base there, if they invoke the Insurrection Act. And that would be logistically beneficial because it's literally across the street from the Whipple building where the HQ is already for everybody. You know, when Pam Bondi came in, when Cash came in, Christy Nome, Bovino, EAD Charles from ICE. That's who I did the ride along with. That's where everybody huddles up, HSI, FBI. So, and then you'd have the National Guard across the street. So yeah, I think for sure they should do that. And aside from, so a benefit of the Insurrection Act would to deputize guards right now, because Minneapolis police doesn't want to do their job. It's not just so like, oh, we can like march around with rifles now. You know, that's what nobody wants to see that. But one of the things is like agents would be able to arrest people without cause. Like they could just grab you, and arrest you. And then the other thing I was thinking in regarding to the hotels is like, you know how like sometimes agents can, if there is an emergency, they can just take your vehicle.
Yeah.
Like you see it in movies and stuff. But so I was like, wait a second. If we invoke the Insurrection Act, could we just like seize a whole hotel, to have, because we're having a problem with ICE agents getting doxxed. But if you seize a whole hotel and then just put like Hummers around it and giant fences like they did in DC, like Biden did in DC, when, then be like, so what? Yeah, this is where we're staying. What are you gonna do?
I dare you to do something, right?
So I don't know the logistic or the legality behind that.
I'm gonna have to
Maybe
ask my constitutional law professor about that in the question, see what the Third Amendment implications of that are. But
that's right. It is the Third Amendment, isn't it?
it is, yeah.
Ask him,
Quartering of soldiers.
Ask him and let me know. I'm curious to know about that.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, no, I actually am curious about that now too. I will. But man, yeah, no, there's a lot going down there, and we definitely all need to be praying. I just wanted to end off with one more kind of more lighthearted question. Whose idea was it for the "Don't feed the animals" signs?
Well, honestly, I think it. Man, I want to take credit for that, but I think we saw it. We saw it on Twitter first.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because the evolution happened where, like, when I first got there, there were no barricades, no fences, like, and that's what caused a lot of the skirmishes to begin with. And then they put barricades up, right? And then they put little fences up, and then they put like giant fences up. Um, so at that point, it just looked like, honestly, like when Obama was doing immigration stuff, putting kids in cages. So somebody made a meme out of it, and yeah, we were just it might have been me, I don't know, it was one of us, but we were like, well, either way, I will take credit for like saying like, hey guys, like I know we're all independent journalists, like, you know, we all have our own little brand, whatever, but if we're choosing to like, I mean, basically form a militia here of like a militia of influencers, if you will, like we should, you know, constantly be like cranking out content. Like we don't have to like run into a riot every single day. Like we can come at it from different angles, just make fun of them, or, you know, do this or that. Like so I was trying to say like we could collectively brainstorm ideas here, and it was my idea of where to get the letters, I'll say that, and the signs, but yeah, man, that was, and so yeah, I wanted to do a really big one, Jesse, like cardboard and like paint the letters like real big, um, but we opted to get the smaller ones, and it was good. It was classic. It was good, but unfortunately, it only lasted like an hour, so we doubled back like 2 hours later, and the liberals had taken. Not only did they take them down, but it was like they put it on another sign like nearby. I'll try and send you that post, but it said like Federal Whipple parking, and then it said for employees only, right?
Mhm.
And the liberal had crossed out employees and put for pigs only, because
Oh
like
my goodness.
cops are pigs and stuff. And then they took our signs and put it on the parking sign. I was like, no, we lost,
No.
Jack. It's so over.
Hey, y'all had it for an hour. Y'all had it for an hour, so there's at least some joy in that.
Yeah.
Forgive me for invoking this person's name because I know you are Catholic, but I think it was Martin Luther that said something along the lines of, if scripture and prayer don't get the devil to leave you alone, just start making fun of him because he cannot
Oh,
stand the
wow.
embarrassment.
Oh, how about
Some
that? I don't think I ever heard that one. I
Yeah,
like that.
I butchered it a little bit, but it's along those lines. But
Right.
thank you for all that you've been doing. All you guys have been cranking out awesome content and giving people a real clear picture of what's going on out there. We are all praying for your safety, whether it's in Minneapolis or wherever you end up next. Um, we appreciate it. Where can people find you?
You can find me on X at Kevin Posobiec, or just type in Kev Posobiec. And then I'm on Instagram as well. That is my real name. I'm out here putting myself on the line. I started doing a little Substack as well. I'm going to try and get on top of that. Jesse, I'm going to try and launch a YouTube here and really gear up, because I think it's going to get worse once the winter's over as well,
Oh
between
yeah,
now and
for sure.
November. So stay tuned for me there. And also this Friday, I'll be on Timcast. So
Hey, there
tune
you
into
go.
that. We'll be recapping more of the stories.
Give my regards to our mutual homie Tate Brown. Let him know I said hello.
Oh, well, hey, I think it'll be my first time meeting him. I don't think I ever
Oh,
met him
there we go.
before. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, again, we appreciate it, and we appreciate all of you guys who have been watching, listening, and tuning in. Thank you guys so much. God loves you all, and so do I. I hope you guys have a great rest of your night and a great weekend. Thank you.